Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm in a great mood today. I feel like I'm going to be very chatty. I actually have the whole day set aside for filming a bunch of videos, so I am thrilled about that. And as you can see, I've got a dark lip on. That can only mean one thing, which is that we are talking about my dark lipstick Project Pan, which I have been embarking on in 2025. Although perhaps it shouldn't be a sign that dark lipstick on me equals dark lipstick Project Pan video. I really wanted to get more in the habit of like organically reaching for a dark lip and just like going out in the world wearing dark lipsticks. Unfortunately, I have not yet graduated to that level. It's still a little bit uncomfortable for me to wear a dark lip. And for whatever reason, I like it better with no eye makeup on. Like, I've got a full face of makeup. I did my skin and everything, but I didn't curl my lashes, no mascara, eyeliner, eyeshadow, any of that. And somehow I like this look better than if I was doing the whole eye. It's probably just because of like balance. Like, this is so much and so dark that I need to temper it somehow. So maybe I will try that at some point. Maybe like to work one day, I will just wear no eye makeup and a dark lipstick. But it's hard to keep up this lip look all day, you know? Like, you sort of need to be reapplying every hour, every couple of hours. And if you're like eating and drinking, that can be kind of messy. You know, there's some lip products that really do not do well if you're eating. You can't just like reapply after eating. You kind of have to redo the whole situation. But anyways, that is for me to figure out. This project has not gone the way that I was hoping. I really hoped that I would fall back in love with dark lipsticks and I would reach for them more than I was previously. And don't get me wrong, I have been using dark lipsticks more in 2025 than I was in 2024. But it's entirely because of this project and because I am motivated by filming these videos and knowing that I need to show my audience the results and how much I have been using these products that I said I would use. Now, I gotta say, I haven't panned a single product, not just in this update, but the entire year. I haven't panned any of my dark lipsticks, but I have decluttered 3 products. So I think that can give you a bit of a sense of the effectiveness of this project. It has been effective for getting dark lipsticks out, but not through panning. And I should have known that going in. But some of these things I really did feel like I was going to be able to pan them. And I do think it's still possible. There's one product that I think for sure by the end of 2025 I will be finishing. And then there's 2 products that I think are pannable, maybe not in 2025, but at some point. But the rest of them, I really don't know if I will ever finish them, which is tricky for me to grapple with because I am all about Project Pan. Like, yes, I do declutter products quite frequently, but I think that panning is the better thing to do because then you're ensuring that it's getting finished. If you're decluttering it to someone else, they might just throw it in the garbage, you know? I have been so sneezy lately and it seems like it's allergies, but I have never had allergies before. So I don't know if there's something going on this year that's different, more pollen or something. It's been weird and I kind of don't want to reckon with it. Also, I did not mention the elephant in the room, which apparently is not actually an elephant. Apparently it's a little mouse. I dyed my hair. I dyed my hair dark brown and nobody has noticed. One friend at work was like, hey, your hair looks a bit different. And that was it. That was the only person. And I've seen so many people since dyeing my hair last week and no one else has said anything. Hey, so in this case, I'm like, is it them or is it me? Is it that my hair color is not that different than I thought it was? Maybe you guys will be able to tell more because you're actually specifically watching me for like aesthetic based content. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people here do notice if I like wear a different lipstick or if I do my hair differently or whatever. So please tell me that you can tell my hair is darker because it's a completely different color. So I started being like, man, was my hair like actually not blonde before? Was it brown? What's going on? I really like it. I really, really do. But I'm like, oh, apparently it's not that anyone dislikes it. It's just that they couldn't even tell. So that's the tea. drinking some iced tea. Anyways, all that being said, let's get into the video. Let's talk about the products that I have been using over the past 2 or 3 months since my last update. And let's talk about the product that I decluttered since my last update. So I have now decluttered 3 products, as I mentioned, through this lipstick project pan. The most recent one was the NYX Liquid Suede lipstick in Brooklyn Thorn. I never liked this color, to be clear, but I think I might have gone on keeping it in my collection and trying to use it when I could, if it wasn't so similar to another product, at least in shade. So this is the color it is. It's a very deep mauve. And also in this project, I have this Tarte lip paint. The only reason that I realized these two were similar was because of this project pan. I mean, yeah, they look somewhat similar, but the NYX one looks so much deeper. Whereas when you actually apply them, the shades are very similar on the lips. So the lighter one is the Tarte one, but they look really, really similar on the lips. And at one point I put the Tarte one on one half of my lips and the NYX one on the other. And I just wanted to compare the textures and consistency and how they wore. And the Tarte one wore so much better that I was like, realistically, I should not be keeping either of these because I never use them. But the least I can do is declutter one of them. So obviously it was going to be the one that I liked less, which was Brooklyn Thorn. I never see anyone wearing products like this. Sometimes I'll see people wearing dark lipsticks, not that often, but like a dark mauve. I think I'm just like not in that space on the internet, which is probably not a great thing. Like I should be following people who are more adventurous with their makeup, who are willing to wear things that are not trendy and who want to play off of like their own instincts rather than what everyone else is wearing. But because I've been so inundated by what is normal and what is trendy in both real life and on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I just can't see this as like a normal flattering shade. And then the other products that I've decluttered through this project are this ColourPop lippy and this KVD lipstick. So we've got 3 products out. Again, I would have preferred if they were out via panning means, but decluttering them means that I have really grappled with the fact that I am never going to use these and it would be better off if they left my collection. Even if that means that nobody is going to end up using them, I am for sure not, so there's just no point in keeping them around, especially if I'm trying to pan all of these other dark lipsticks. So I've still got 7 lip products in this project. Started with 10, now we're at 7, and I do want to pan 2 by the end of the year. I think that's the number that I will say. I started with 10, I want to end with 5. I'm still gonna have 5 dark lipsticks, which is too many. I will say that much, but at least if we get it down by half, I will feel better about how this project went overall this year. So let's go through them one by one, starting with what I'm wearing today. Now, I actually combined one of my project pan lipsticks with a lip liner that is not in the project, but I did want to try them out together and see how I like them because maybe that would encourage me to reach for that lipstick more often. But the lip liner I'm wearing is this one from Makeup by Mario. It was in the birthday gift from Sephora. I need to sharpen it. I was disappointed by this, actually. I mean, it's a fine formula, but I just wish it was more of a nude because I find those so much easier to reach for. Like I could just wear a nude all over my lips and be good to go. But a product like this, that's like not as easy for me to reach for it organically. But I will say it goes very well with the lipstick I'm wearing, which is Black Cherry by Revlon. This is the one that I think is most likely that I will finish by the end of the year because there is not that much left. And here's the lip look. I think it's nice. The issue that I found with this lipstick in the past month or two is that I can't really wear it by itself. Like I really do need the lip liner underneath to keep it locked in place. Otherwise it just wears off really strangely. Like I used to think I liked the formula, but I no longer really like this formula. It's more of a plummy than those two, which is what I like. I would rather like a purpley red than a mauvey brown. I'm gonna add a little more. I do like the color, but it is still intimidating to me. So for the most part, I have not been wearing this out of the house. I've just been wearing it at home. It is somewhat moisturizing, so I can even use it as like kind of like a balm in the evenings. My lips do feel quite moisturized right now. And I think I was tracking how much of this I'd use. So let's cross our fingers and see if I've made any progress since the last update. Marginal progress. That is disappointing. There are the lines. See? So maybe max 2 millimeters. Some progress, but at this rate, like we've got 5 months left in the year, 4.5. And seeing as this is how much progress I made in the first 6 months of the year, that's not looking good. So I think I'm gonna need to, wow, I got this all over the page, my bad. I'm gonna need to pick up the pace on this, but I think that's gonna be doable. Oh, I totally just dug my nail in there. That's why it's everywhere. I'm wearing like white linen shorts. As I mentioned in the previous update, which I will link here if I have not already, I have mostly been focusing on one very specific product in this project because I really felt like that was the one that was going to be easiest to get out. However, it's still not done. So I keep sort of switching back and forth between focusing on that one and focusing on a different one, depending on how optimistic I am about finishing that. So I'm going to put more effort into finishing this one and less into finishing that one, because that one, I have no context for if I'm going to be able to finish it by the end of the year. It's opaque, so I just can't tell how much is left. This one I actually can see, and that visual progress is really important. So let's do one more whirl. I really want this out by the end of the year, so let's shift the focus more to this one. And now let's transition into talking about that product. It is the Revlon lip cushion. Unfortunately, I did leave it at work this week, so I don't have it with me, but I will insert some clips of it here. That has been my go-to work lippy. I switch back and forth between a few of them just so that I don't get bored and so I get adequate use on a couple of different lip products. But I've been really good about using it probably 3 times a day. And I feel like, honestly, I've used that product. I would average out to like once or twice a day every single day of 2025 so far. So I'm really, really good about using it. It's just disappointing not being able to see that visual progress because I'm not getting that satisfaction, and I need that satisfaction. I love visual progress, and I know that you guys do too. We love seeing a visual pan, you know, and I'm not going to get that with this product. Just one day I'm going to be like, oh, it's not screwing up anymore. I guess it's finished, you know, like it's just going to be a complete surprise. And while a surprise can be nice from time to time, I think with panning products, that's not my preferred way to find out. So yeah, I'm not hate panning that product. I still like it, but I do want it out. The next one is a lip liner. I only have one lip liner in this project, and it is this one from NYX. It is in Deep Purple. I actually have 2 very, very similar lip liners in terms of shade. They're both from NYX. And I briefly considered decluttering one because I'm like, why do I even need 2 of these? But I think I've had so much progress on this that I just kind of want to see it through to the end. Let me see if I can compare this to the other one. This is confusing. These are the 2 lippies. The shades are Auburn and Deep Purple. And this whole time I thought that I was panning the shorter one because that's what makes sense. You finish the one that's going to be easier to finish. But no. The shorter one is the one that is not in my project pan. That is wild. Did I accidentally switch them at some point? So I'm gonna switch them back. I don't need to have two short lip liners. I can have one short one and one long one. This is the shorter one. This is the shorter one. This is the longer one. So the longer one is the one that I have been panning over the last few months. And I would say it's more like magenta. The other one's a bit more pink. That's so interesting. How did this happen? Anyways, glad that I compared them because otherwise I would not have even realized that. I, for the most part, use these as lip liners, but I also do occasionally use them as eyeliner. I did so this week. We had a like color theme at work and I was purple, so I thought it'd be fun if I use this as an eyeliner. I will insert a picture. It's not strictly like purple, but I don't like actual purple eyeliner, so auburn is what I like as an eyeliner color. I'm so shook about how this happened, but let's see if I had tracked it last time. Which one was I tracking? No, I was definitely tracking the taller one. Wow, I barely used up anything. But I swear even just this past week, I sharpened it multiple times. Whatever, we're switching to the shorter one. So at least there's more progress there. And this could actually use a sharpen. So that's lovely to see. That is where we're at. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this by the end of the year. Just going off of my brown eyeliner, which took literal years to pan. Like this probably has about another year in it. That's what I guess, 6 to 12 months. And it can be easier to use a lip liner up than an eyeliner because I'm lining like that rather than just like that, you know, like there's just more surface area to cover. But still, this is not something that I find easy to wear on a daily basis. So unlikely by the end of the year, unfortunately. The next two are the same but different products, and I gotta say, I find these difficult to reach for generally, but especially so when it's not winter. These are the Revlon High Shines in a like shiny version and a matte version. I do like the matte version better. These have quite a like scent and taste, and I do like them, but again, impractical. These shades are not what I reach for. But something about me doesn't want to declutter them, so they're sticking around for when I get up the nerve to use them. I don't have much else to say on this because I probably reach for them each like 3 times since the last update, like really not frequently. Again, because I cannot see the progress being made because they're completely opaque, there's less of that satisfaction of seeing progress, and so I'm less motivated to use them. So I am sure these are still going to be in my collection by the end of the year. These are not being finished before 2026. There's a few products in this product where I'm like, is this even worth talking about again? Like, I basically have nothing to report. There's no visual progress because the products are opaque, and there's probably no actual progress because I just know that I haven't reached for them. It almost makes me want to like cancel the dark lipstick project pan and like roll the products that I'm actually using from within it into my greater project pan. But I know that people like the dark lipstick project pan. I just feel like it's so disappointing to come on here and also for you watching to see and be like, there's like, you have nothing to update. Like I have one declutter and no empties. Like, is this even worth making a video about? That's why I'm trying to film these infrequently, like every 3 or so months, but there's still not enough to discuss. So I'm probably not going to do the next update for another like 3 to 4 months. Maybe I won't even update before the end of 2025 because it's just disappointing. And I don't want to be making content that is like pointless for you guys, you know? But anyways, the Tarte lip paint, I already swatched it. It is this one here. I just find it so hard to use. And yes, it's a better formula than the NYX one, but I don't feel like it's a good formula. Like I don't know. It's kind of like dry and chalky. I don't love it. Should it be decluttered? Yes. Am I realistically going to declutter it? No. I'm sorry. But I know that about myself. So anyways, that's all I had to say about this. I haven't reached for it very much, and I'm sorry. And then the final product is another lipstick. This one, you would be able to tell the visual progress if I had made any. However, I'm already going to predict that I did not. Things have been really busy lately, which means I'm like not home very much, and I feel like it's sort of opposite for my regular project pan because I make progress on my regular project pan when I am busy, when I'm out and about a lot, because then I'm doing my makeup almost every day. Whereas for the lipstick project pan, because these are such dark lippies and things that I find really intimidating to reach for, I'm only using them when I am home. And so if I'm not home very much, I'm not using them. But if I am home, I'm using them and I'm not using my regular project pan items. I literally just thought of that right now, but that's so interesting. That's probably why I made a bit more progress in the winter months, because I was home way more. At least we're doing well with the regular project. Yeah, this was MAC Antique Velvet. It's still so big. Like, there's no way I'm getting this finished up by the end of the year. Let's give it a little swatch. I think some people have suggested trying to use some of these as blushes, but I just fear they are such deep colors that it would look bonkers, or I would only be using a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, and then I won't actually get to be using my blushes, you know? So that is it there. It is the deepest shade that is still remaining in the project. The KVD lipstick that I decluttered earlier in the year, I think they were like pretty similar in terms of depth. Actually, no, the MAC Antique Velvet might be the deepest one. So it's the hardest to reach for. And honestly, I think it's taken me years to realize this, but I do not think that I like the MAC lipstick formula. It doesn't fade well, and it doesn't feel great on the lips. There, I said it. I have given some serious thought to decluttering this. And maybe one day I will be able to do that. But the thing is that right now I have 3 MAC lipsticks. I've got this one, I've got Ruby Woo, and then I also have Patisserie. So I like how they look together. Patisserie is in my work bag, as that's also one that I cycle through using regularly at work. And so maybe once I finish that one, if I do finish Patisserie, then I will be able to declutter Antique Velvet, because it won't be like, you know, trying to fill up this whole thing. I know that's a really dumb reason, but like, something about the 3 is like complete, but if there's 2, then I feel like it would be easier to only have 1. So anyways, stay tuned towards the end of the year, but I don't even think that this is worth measuring, because I just know that I have not made progress. Yeah, it's in the exact same spot. Sorry, I'm making a real mess with this. I probably used this 3 times max since the last update. And again, I'm sorry. That was it. Rather underwhelming, but those are the 7 products that are currently still in my lipstick project pan. I think the positives of today were that I made progress on the black cherry lipstick, that I discovered that this was the wrong lip liner that I was panning, and that I decluttered the NYX Brooklyn Thorn. These are the ones that are still in my dark lipstick project pan, and we're currently at 7, so I'm just hoping to get down to 5 by the end of the year. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and let's talk about a book that I have been reading lately. So today I want to talk about a book that you have maybe seen the movie adaptation of, but probably didn't know that there was a book, that it was based on a book. At least that was my experience with it. This is The Stepford Wives by Ira Levin. I don't know how I came across this. Maybe it was like just scrolling on Goodreads or something, but I looked it up on Libby and I saw that the audiobook was like 4 hours long. So I was like, why not? It's sort of an interesting concept. The movie was not very good, but maybe it could be an interesting book. And Ira Levin, Jewish author. I feel like I just gravitate more towards Jewish authors. So if you haven't heard of it, the movie adaptation came out, I think there was an older version from like the 80s, and then there was a newer version from the early 2000s with Nicole Kidman and Matthew Broderick. And the concept is basically that this American couple, they're probably in their like late 20s, early 30s. They live in Chicago, I believe, or maybe New York, like some kind of big city, but they want more space. They want to, they want to live in the suburbs. Can't relate. Oh yeah, and they have kids. That was probably part of why they wanted more space. So they move out to this small town. It's very idyllic. It's called Stepford. And it's really lovely, but there's something off about the women. They don't seem like real people. They don't have any of their own interests. None of them work. All they do and all they're interested in is housework, laundry, cooking, cleaning. That is all they seem to be able to talk about. And they're very they're almost like robotic in the way that they talk. They don't have any depth. Again, they don't have any interests. And they're not even willing to hang out one-on-one with the main character, Joanna. They're just always too busy with housework and scrubbing their floors or whatever. And Joanna tries to discuss this with Walter, and he's like, yeah, it's weird, but that's what they seem to like. And then finally Joanna finds a friend who, similar to her, has a lot of interest. She's very politically involved. She's involved with the feminist movement. This was in the 80s. And they commiserate about what a weird town Stepford is, and if they can try to get a women's group going. Anyways, eventually one day, Joanna's new friend seems to have changed somewhat, and she's now just like all the other women. She doesn't have time to hang out. She's way more image obsessed, and Joanna gets suspicious. So it's a very short book because it definitely could have been longer, but I found it very effective for the fact that it was only a 4-hour read. How many pages? 144 pages. It was just so simple and on the nose, and ooh, this book was from the 80s, but it is so sharply, not satirical, but the social commentary I thought was so interesting. It was so effective. It really blew me away. I gave this book 5 stars, and it's kind of disappointing that the movie was kind of garbage because, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Don't Worry, Darling, but I believe that's sort of similar. I would highly recommend it. But that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next week.